Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about how to download and use Anaconda, as well as how to launch Jupyter Notebooks within Anaconda. So to start off, let's go ahead and go to anaconda.com. This will take us to the Anaconda homepage. From there, we can click the download button, which will take us to anaconda.com/distribution. This is the Anaconda distribution where we will actually be able to download Anaconda. So first of all, what is Anaconda? Anaconda is an all-encompassing platform for data scientists, data analysts, and anybody that just wants to run Python or R code. Within Anaconda, we'll have a lot of packages that will, from the open source community that Anaconda downloads for us. So it does a lot of the heavy lifting off the bat, as well as we'll be able to download things like Jupyter Notebook, Spider, and RStudio. These will be the interfaces that we actually use to run our Python or R code. So if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see currently two different versions of Python available to download within Anaconda, Python 3 and Python 2. If you're watching this video in the future, you might see a different version of Python available. With that being said, I tend to tell people to download the newest stable version of Python, which in this case is currently Python 3.7, the one being offered on the distribution page. If in the future we ever want to revert back to Python 2 for whatever reason, we can still do that within our Python 3 Anaconda distribution. I'll show you how we can do that later in the video. One other quick note about the download process. I have in very few occasions, I've seen a bug where people have had trouble opening up Anaconda from their computer. If this does happen to you, one workaround that I have seen work before is called Miniconda. Miniconda is basically a lightweight version of Anaconda. So again, this does not happen often. I have seen it before though. Just one workaround that I know of if that does happen to you. So go ahead and install for Windows, Mac, or Linux, whichever operating system you're currently working off of. Again, in this case, I recommend downloading Python 3.7. It is going to take a couple minutes for that download process to finish. So you can go ahead and pause the video and then start back up, and we'll walk through how to actually use the Anaconda Navigator prompt, as well as how to launch Jupyter Notebooks. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and launch my Anaconda Navigator now that the download process is finished. A couple different ways we can do that. If you're on a Windows computer, you can search for Anaconda Navigator in your Windows search bar. If you're on a Mac, you can go into your Applications folder and search for Anaconda Navigator. And we're going to go ahead and open up that Navigator now. This might take a couple seconds for you to open up for the first time. So off the bat, we should be on our base, our root environment. And in this case, we see a bunch of different applications. We have Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook, Spider, things like RStudio. These are a bunch of different applications for us to be able to write our Python and R code. In this example, we're going to use Jupyter Notebooks, but Spider and RStudio are also two popular applications for data scientists and data analysts to use. I currently have Jupyter Notebook already installed on my computer within my Anaconda Navigator. If this is the first time that you've installed Anaconda, you're probably going to see a green install button. So in that case, you're actually going to have to install Jupyter Notebook before we can actually launch Jupyter Notebook. So a good time to do that right now. We actually need to install Jupyter Notebooks before we can launch it. All right, so once Jupyter Notebook is installed, we can go ahead and launch Jupyter Notebook simply by clicking the launch button. And what this is going to do is open up a connection between my local computer and my web browser that I'm working off of. So in this case, we see we're working off of the local host, our local computer, through port 8888. We're currently looking at our home directory. In my case, I'm going to change my directory to my desktop. And we can open up a new Jupyter Notebook on the top right corner with new, and we could launch a Python 3. In this case, you might have Python 2 if you've already have Anaconda pre-installed on your computer. But in this case, Python 3 Jupyter Notebook. So there we have it. We've just launched a Jupyter Notebook using Anaconda. We could see that we're, again, working off our local host. I'm on my desktop, And then Jupyter Notebook is called untitled.ipynb. So .ipynb stands for .ipython notebook. That's the file structure for how to save and use a Jupyter Notebook. If I want to change the name up on the top, I can click on Untitled, and I'm going to call this Python_lesson. Go ahead and click Rename. And now you can see on my desktop, the file is now called python_lesson.ipynb. So later on in another video, we're going to walk through how to install packages in Python, as well as some introductory Python code in a Jupyter Notebook. But for the remainder of this video, I'm going to open up Anaconda Navigator again and show you some other ways that we can also launch a Jupyter Notebook, as well as other ways to use the Anaconda Navigator. So over on my Environments tab, I have currently being shown different environments within my Anaconda Navigator. Now for you, if this is the first time you've installed Anaconda, you're just going to see the base or the root environment. If for whatever reason you want to install a different version of Python, so in our case we installed Python 3.7, but maybe you want Python 2.7 to run some Python 2 code separately. If that's the case, we can go on to the bottom and click Create. I'm going to select Python 2.7. I'm going to call this environment Python 2.7, and I'm not going to actually create it right now, but if you do want to create a Python 2.7 environment, this is how you can do that. If I were to click the Create button, I would be downloading Python 2.7 into a new environment in my Anaconda Navigator. In that case, you can see I already have Python 2 installed in this environment over here. So other ways we could launch our Jupyter Notebook back to our base or our root environment. This is the Python 3 from our initial install. We can click the play button, and we could also click Open with Jupyter Notebooks through the play button. This again will open up a connection through our local computer to our home directory. We can go again and click on our desktop or whichever folder or file system that you want to work out of. New, and I'm going to launch a Python 3 Jupyter Notebook. So this is a new Jupyter Notebook, so it's again called Untitled. Back to my Anaconda Navigator. One final way that we could also open up a Jupyter Notebook within Anaconda is by opening up a terminal. And within our terminal, I could say Jupyter, use the command Jupyter, so that's Jupyter space notebook. Go ahead and click Enter. And this again is another way that we can open up a Jupyter Notebook. So that terminal could be opened up through Anaconda, or you could simply just open up the terminal from your applications in your computer. So all of these notebooks that I've opened up are Python 3 notebooks because they were opened up through my base root environment, which is specifically Python 3. But I had shown you how to open up or install Python 2 into Anaconda as well. If we do, for whatever reason, want to open up a Python 2 specific Jupyter Notebook or environment, we can do that by installing Python 2 through that Create again on the bottom. Just waiting for this to finish loading up. Once that's done, we can click the play button, open with Jupyter Notebook. And now when I go to my desktop or whichever folder that you want to work out of, I'm going to go ahead and click New. You'll see Python 2. So this was through my Python 2 environment. So this notebook is specifically Python 2. So it doesn't really matter, and there's very minor syntax differences between Python 2 and Python 3. I typically recommend for Python people to use Python 3, but it's important to be aware of which version of Python you're working off of. So when I go onto my home directory now, it's just important to be careful of which environment you're working off of. For the most people, if this is the first time that you've installed Anaconda, you'll only be seeing your base, your root environment. Only if you were to create a new environment would you see multiple environments as an option in this dropdown. So we've just showed you how to download Anaconda Navigator, Anaconda, and install and use Jupyter Notebooks. In the next video, we will walk through how to download packages in Jupyter Notebooks and in Python. We'll walk through some introductory Python code. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Please subscribe, and I will continue to put out these videos as well as make videos for content that you are specifically interested in. So feel free to let me know in the comments what kind of videos you're looking forward to seeing and what you want to learn, and hopefully we could all keep learning together. So thanks.